Good evening from Hairenik Media and welcome to this week's newscast. Tonight we cover significant developments from the US, Armenia, and the diaspora. We also highlight the work of the AYF-YOARF in the region through an exclusive interview with the organization's Central Executive Chairperson. Let's get started. In a significant development, Tulsi Gabbard has been confirmed as a Director of the National Intelligence. Gabbard, known for her advocacy on Armenian issues, is one of the few U.S. lawmakers to have visited Artsakh. Her confirmation was secured with strong Republican backing, including support from figures like Elon Musk, passing the Senate with a 52-48 vote along party lines. Gabbard has been a vocal critic of Azerbaijan's aggression against Artsakh, previously condemning Turkey's involvement in the 2020 war and warning of genocidal threats against Armenians.
There are so many shared values and interests that we have with you in our democracy, in the recognition for the need for self-determination, the recognition of independence, diversity, and peace.
The Armenian National Committee of America, ANCA, has welcomed her confirmation and urged her to investigate the role of U.S. intelligence and foreign aid in enabling Azerbaijan's ethnic cleansing of Artsakh Armenians. The committee has called for a comprehensive review of how U.S. military assistance may have contributed to war crimes, emphasizing the need for accountability. The sham trial of former Artsakh State Minister Ruben Vardanyan continued behind closed doors, with prosecutors charging him with allegedly plotting what they called Operation Nemesis II and accusing him of planning the assassination of high-level Azerbaijani officials. The charges refer to the operation spearheaded by the Armenian Revolutionary Federation in 1919, which sought to avenge the victims of the Armenian genocide by targeting its Ittihadist perpetrators. The 1921 assassination of the greatest executioner of the Armenian people, Talat Pasha, in Berlin by Soghomon Tehlirian, was a significant act of retribution carried out under Operation Nemesis. Ruben Vardanyan dismissed his state-appointed defense attorney for failing to represent his interests. Vardanyan has been denied the right to seek and be represented by his own counsel. Attorney Siranush Sahakyan, the representative of Armenian prisoners of war at the European Court of Human Rights, said that Vardanyan's state-appointed defense attorney did not provide him with any legal assistance and never visited him in the isolation cell, promoting him to not trust him. Referring to the ongoing sham trial in Baku and the fabricated accusations against the leadership of Artsakh, ARF Bureau member, head of the party's parliamentary faction, Armen Rustamyan, stated that the Yerevan authorities have just realized that they too are the target of the ongoing trial in Azerbaijan, because when they reach the 44-day war, they will also bring charges against Nikol Pashinyan. The silence of the Armenian authorities regarding the sham trial in Azerbaijan was broken when, according to the Azerbaijani sources, the former president of Artsakh, Arayik Harutyunyan, expressed regret in the court for the missile attacks on Ganzak during the war, stating that he did not make the decision to launch the attack. Former Armenian Foreign Minister Vartan Oskanyan, referring to the recently declassified U.S. State Department documents, stated in a Facebook post that they dismantle the narrative surrounding the Mehri issue. According to Oskanyan, certain individuals have long insisted that the idea of exchanging Artsakh for Mehri was an initiative by then President Robert Kocharyan, directed at Azerbaijan's President Heydar Aliyev. However, he asserts that the declassified documents clearly demonstrate that this proposal actually came from Aliyev himself, and Oskanyan was a direct witness to it. We have a government that has already given up Artsakh and may now give up a part of Syunik as well. When a leader deliberately erases parts of the nation's history to justify his own failures, he betrays not only his country's past, but also its future, Oskanyan warned. During a press briefing, Armenian National Assembly Speaker Alen Simonyan faced tough questioning from an Artsakh journalist. And when asked when Artsakh's displaced Armenians could return home, Simonyan replied, "When it is safe." However, when pressed on his choice of referring to the region as Karabakh instead of Artsakh, he defended his wording, arguing that Armenians themselves use both names. The controversy escalated when Simonyan accused Artsakh's population of not staying to fight in Azerbaijan's September 2023 attack, stating, "You should have fought." His comments sparked outrage as they ignored the overwhelming military disadvantage and the mass displacement of over 100,000 Armenians. Critics have pointed out that Simonyan himself previously identified Artsakh as his homeland, but now appears to be rewriting his stance. Shahramanyan, president of Artsakh, has condemned Simonyan's remarks and called for a public apology for belittling the people of Artsakh and disregarding their resilience during the 9-month blockade and subsequent military onslaught. In a statement, the ARF Artsakh Central Committee said that such actions by undignified Armenian government officials will leave a black stain and disgraceful memories on our state's history and will serve as an example for and evidence to generations of denial of the homeland. This is yet another proof that the current authorities of the Republic of Armenia not only do not represent the ideals of the Armenian people, but are also serving the forces hostile to Armenia by propagating their ideology, Artsakh ARF added. Geram Stepanyan, the human rights defender of Artsakh, condemned Simonyan's hate speech against the Armenians of Artsakh, highlighting the report by Freedom House documenting Azerbaijan's ethnic cleansing of Artsakh and questioning why Armenian authorities have not made such reports widely available to the public. Rather than acknowledging these documented crimes, Armenian politicians and state-aligned media continue to spread narratives that blame the victims. The Artsakh Diocese of the Armenian Apostolic Church said it is painful to hear such irresponsible remarks about Artsakh and the Artsakh Armenians from a high-ranking official, emphasizing that those who officially refuse to help Artsakh are once again distorting reality and adding to the suffering of displaced Armenians. Deputies of the National Assembly of the Republic of Artsakh condemned Simonyan's attempts to humiliate the people of Artsakh, saying that such an approach and mindset reveal the tendency of Armenia's authorities to sow division among various segments of the Armenian people. Alen Simonyan is outraged by the fact that the Artsakh Armenians didn't stay on under the threat of genocide and weren't exterminated. ARF member Main Opposition Armenia Alliance MP Christine Vartanyan charged on the parliament floor, highlighting the extraordinary resistance of Artsakh's armed forces and civilians, who face severe shortages and overwhelming Azeri military force. Now let's go to our correspondent in Yerevan, Nare Navasartyan, for more on Armenia. Hello, Nare.
Hi, Ani.
Nare, we know former President Robert Kocharyan held a press conference today. What are the highlights from that?
Yes, Artsakh's first president and the Republic of Armenia's second president, Kocharyan, held a press conference with over 50 different media platforms present, and he addressed, it was like a 4-hour press conference. He addressed a lot. The most important points were he warned against the dissolution of the OSCE Minsk group. And he said that if it does happen, then it will be difficult to put together a similar diplomatic platform. He mentioned our POWs about the political leadership of Artsakh that are currently undergoing the whole of Armenian court process in Baku. He addressed a few defamation points that are spread by the media. For example, he mentioned that he in no way has this common, spread a rumor that he has 4 billion, that he's a billionaire. He warned against the Mehri corridor, which is currently being negotiated away without any real security guarantees and without having ownership over the land and the air, such as which was what was being negotiated by his foreign minister Vartan Oskanian. He mentioned that there are many security threats facing Armenia, and that instead of adding to our security apparatus, for example, adding the Iranian factor, we are detracting from them, and we are worsening our relations with Russia. He also mentioned how with the US changing its policy, now there is like a bigger window of complementarity vis-a-vis Russia and the US for Armenia. And he also said that his bloc is going to be taking part in elections. He assured the public that it is possible to win against Nikol Pashinyan with elections, and that he is going to try to do that in the upcoming elections 2026. Another important point that he mentioned is that we are at the risk of losing what we have with the Eurasian Economic Union, but never really ascending to the EU, which is a recent bill that the ruling party introduced. Overall, he was just calling for the government to take more responsibility, and he even made a joke saying that there are 3 places in Armenia where no one takes any responsibility. It's the kindergarten, the mental asylums, mental institutions, and the government.
Thank you, Nare. Can you talk a little about Armenia's EU accession?
Of course. So this EU bill was initiated. It was a public initiative by political figures that are very close to the regime. Artsakh, Tigran Khizmalyan, this is like their preferred opposition. And recently it was passed, getting 63 votes in the parliament, all of them from the ruling party. So this membership bill should be mostly viewed in the context of the upcoming elections, because the ruling party's ratings are very low, and this is their attempt to capitalize on the public's general positive public perceptions of the prosperous and secure European life. But EU is a trade bloc, and it has no real way of enhancing its member security. Also, many EU countries, Italy, Bulgaria, Czechia, are actively arming Baku, and this is not going to resolve any of Armenia's security issues. On top of this, just like with Ukraine, a number of Russian officials have warned us of the incompatibilities between the 2 systems, the Eurasian Economic Union, in which Armenia currently is, and the EU membership. So with the Eurasian Economic Union, our trade turnover is 5 times higher than with the countries of the EU. It's about 13 billion. Last year, it grew 53%, whereas with the EU countries, it fell 24%. Not to mention the other side is that the EU has its own internal problems. As second President Kocharyan also mentioned, it is currently undergoing a leadership crisis and an economic crisis, and they're not really looking to obtain new members. The MP from Hayastan Dashing, Artur Khachaturian, described this bill as a shameful bluff that is a threat to Armenia's foreign policy. He mentioned that the civil contract party led by Pashinyan is jeopardizing Armenia's foreign policy by misleading both its partners and its citizens. So overall, I can say that this bill is, in essence, geographically, it's not a feasible future EU membership. And not to mention the example of Georgia, where the same EU association was used as a political leverage and an instrument of blackmail, and this is why they froze their membership, their attempts to become an EU member.
What else do you have for us, Nare?
Well, recently, Ruben Mkhitaryan, who is a well-known producer, he produced Hayat Project, which is a very popular musical group from Gyumri. an outspoken critic of the regime, announced his candidacy for the upcoming Gyumri elections. They're on March 30th. And his move sparked this immediate defamation campaign by the media and the social media accounts that are associated with the government propagandists. In particular, they were trying to link Ruben Mkhitaryan to Serge Sarkisyan just because they had a handshake, shared a handshake when he was the director of Armenia channel. He has never really been in politics. He's a new figure and is very popular in the public. So the fears of the regime are well founded. And this is also a good opportunity to remind the public about how these elections, Gyumri elections, even came about. The democratically elected, like Balasanyan alliance, its mayor and the ruling faction, were driven by the regime to resign using blackmail, threats, and even arrests. So it's important to acquaint ourselves with the full set of instruments that Pashinyan uses to achieve his political goals. The opposition MP Martin Grigoryan has also announced his bid, saying that he will provide further details soon, so we will be keeping an eye on that.
Thank you, Nare.
Thank you, Ani.
Now, a troubling development in cultural heritage. New photos reveal that the historic Armenian church Dzizernavank has been vandalized under Azerbaijani control. The images, reported by monumentwatch.org, showed that the church's altar has been damaged with the holy table and cross pedestal broken. This follows previous incidents of desecration since December 2020, when the Kashatagh region of Artsakh was surrendered to Azerbaijan. Experts warn that continued destruction threatens the church's historical and cultural integrity. The Coordinating Council of Armenian Organizations of France has submitted a complaint to the International Criminal Court, ICC, urging an investigation into Azerbaijan's war crimes and crimes against humanity in Artsakh. The complaint calls for an official ICC probe into the forced displacement of 120,000 Artsakh Armenians, the destruction of cultural heritage, and the genocidal actions of Azerbaijani forces. The organization is also pushing for an international arrest warrant for Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev. A conference titled "The Armenian People and the Right to Return to Their Land" was held in the French Senate. Last year, the Senate adopted an inter-party resolution condemning Azerbaijan's military offensive in Artsakh. In another Artsakh-related news from France, in a unanimous decision, the Paris City Council has adopted a resolution condemning Azerbaijan's detention of Artsakh's former and current leaders. The resolution demands their immediate release and reaffirms Paris's solidarity with the Armenian people. Azerbaijani authorities have dealt a second blow to Russian-Azerbaijani relations with new developments following the closure of the Russian house in Azerbaijan. According to the authorities in Baku, a group of former ministers was spying for Russia, including former Foreign Minister Elmar Mamadyarov, former Chief of Staff of the President Ramiz Mehdiyev, former Minister of Culture Abulfaz Garayev, and former Minister of Youth and Physical Education Azat Rahimov. It was reported that former Minister of National Security Eldar Mahmudov also occasionally participated in the meetings of this group. A geographical map in a Rome exhibition was corrected following intervention by the Armenian community. The exhibition at the Colosseum, titled Gobekli Tepe, The Enigma of a Sacred Place, originally omitted Armenia from the region's historical context in an attempt by Turkey to rewrite history and erase cultural identities. The Colosseum Archaeological Park's Secretariat confirmed the correction, acknowledging Armenia's proper place in the historical display. February 13 marked the 37th anniversary of the Artsakh movement, which began in 1988 with mass demonstrations demanding the reunification of Artsakh with Armenia. This movement, rooted in the will of the people, led to the decades-long struggle for self-determination. It remains a powerful symbol of national resilience in the face of external threats. On February 14, the Armenian Apostolic Holy Church celebrates the feast of the Presentation of the Lord, commemorating the presentation of the 40-day-old infant Jesus at the temple, Diaran Tarach. His Holiness Karakin II, Supreme Patriarch and Catholicos of all Armenians, presided over the evening service on Thursday, after which the procession of clergy moved to the courtyard of the monastic complex of the Mother See of Holy Echmiadzin, where he lit the bonfire. As a token of blessing, crosses were gifted to the faithful by the Catholicos. Hairenik Media's Narek Alexanyan was there, capturing the soul and spirit of this religious event. For over 9 decades, the Armenian Youth Federation, Youth of the AYF, has been serving as one of the most vital forces in engaging and empowering new generations of Armenians dedicated to the pursuit of the Armenian cause and the struggle for the just aspirations of our nation. In December 2024, the AYF Eastern Region elected its new central executive, which has already started its activities. In today's exclusive interview with the AYF Eastern Region Central Executive Chairwoman, Isabel Hagobian, we will shed some more light on AYF's activities and programs.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Isabel, let's start by explaining to our viewers what the AYF stands for, when it was established, and what its mission is.
Sure. The AYF was established in 1933 by Karakin, who understood the importance of the Armenian youth. We basically foster nationalistic pride among our AYF members. We have 5 pillars that we work towards, which are educational, political, cultural, athletic, and social. We also make sure that our members are working in cooperation with the ARF and that they will eventually be prepared to join the ARF in the future and have active involvement in their Armenian community.
How many chapters does the AYF have in the Eastern region, and how many members?
So we have 15 chapters right now. Some of our chapters are joint, meaning that they function with senior and junior members. We also have a group called Members at Large, who are members that live around the Eastern region that don't necessarily live within the borders of a chapter with a jurisdiction. So they are considered members at large. In terms of membership, we have about 520 active seniors, and we have, I would say, 130 junior transfers who are 17-year-olds that are getting ready to join the senior chapter. So adding that up, it would be around approximately 600 active seniors and around juniors.
What can you tell us about the AYF juniors? What age group do they belong to? Do they usually transition to seniors?
Yeah, so the AYF juniors are age range from 10 to 16. Once they turn 17, they're eligible to take their senior oath and transfer to the senior chapter. And we do have a good transition rate. Our membership council does work toward making sure that our chapter executives are aware of who is eligible to transfer. So that is something that we use to ensure that we are getting that return rate with our membership. And our juniors, they are the future of our organization. So we have a lot of emphasis on their junior events. They have specific junior events throughout the year that involve us senior members being their chaperones. They have educational weekends that are junior seminar focused. We can talk about that later. But we also have junior specific athletic events that are Junior Winter Olympics, Junior Athletic Games. They sort of mimic our senior events that we have, but on a junior level. And we have cultural events with our juniors as well. The Armenian Cultural Educational Weekend that we have too.
As well-established organization, I am sure the AYF operates through committees to cover the entire Eastern region. Can you tell us more about the committees you have?
Yes, so we have many central councils that function within our membership. We have the Central Membership and Web Team Council who maintain our membership rosters. They essentially put up our applications for all our regional events. We have the CAC, which is the Central Athletic Council. They work on making sure our athletic events are successful, and they help plan those. We have the Central Junior Council, which essentially functions as the central executive of the junior membership. So they do field work, our junior chapters, and make sure that they are aware of the events that are happening and that they're hosting successful events on a local level. We have the Central Campaign Council, which works with the Camp Hassan Board of Directors. They help make sure that the AYF is involved in the camp's activities and that they're helping with recruitment and public relations for the camp. We have the Camp Jabach Council, who helps with planning and fundraising of the ARS Camp Jabach program that happens every summer. And we have the Central Educational Council that helps with the educational curriculum of our membership, both senior and junior, and the Central Language Council that ensures our membership are speaking Armenian, and they have exposure to the Armenian language and resources that are needed. We have the Central Internship Council that helps plan our AYF internship program that happens every summer in Armenia. Junior Seminar Council, which very importantly, they plan the biggest junior event that happens every year, Memorial Day weekend. And Central High Tide Council that plans high tide events. They let our membership know of high tide initiatives that they should be involved with, both on local and a regional level. That should be covering, we have also PR Council. They run our social media, they make our graphics, and they are the ones that are snapping our pictures at all of our events.
Can you tell us about the annual marquee programs and events the AYF has?
Yes, so in the beginning I said that we have 5 pillars. I believe that all of our events that we have throughout the year really exhibit all the 5 pillars. So educationally, we have Junior Seminar, as mentioned, which is the biggest junior event that we have every year with our junior membership. And we have a senior seminar for our senior membership as well. These weekends really foster our membership to be in discussions, lectures. We have different themes that help our members start thinking about different topics and work toward the Armenian cause. Culturally, like I mentioned, we have the Armenian Cultural Educational Weekend. And athletically, we do have many events. On a senior level, our biggest event throughout the whole year is the AYF-Olympic Games, which rotates based on what chapter is hosting that. And we have junior athletic games and junior winter Olympics as well. So we do have some other events, like for example, right now we just had the NAT tournament weekend, and I am there right now, but we just finished it, and this event in the past few years has become very successful. So those, I would say, are our biggest events throughout the year, but specifically the AYF Olympic Games is our biggest annual marquee event.
And we're very excited to be hosting it in Boston this year.
Yes, we're excited. We hope to see everyone there and our viewers.
Any new programs developed for this year?
Yes, for the AYF this year, we hope to have more local high tide initiatives. And we also are having or sponsoring educational language classes for our membership. This was a conversation that happened at our last convention, and we are sponsoring some of our members to enter Armenian language classes.
Thank you. Let's remind our viewers that our interview guest is the chairwoman of the AYF-YOARF Eastern Region, Central Executive Isabel Hagobian. Isabel, now let's talk about the relation of the Central Executive with the chapters, the methods that the AYF leadership in the region implements. Can you elaborate more on the workshops and the training and the field workers?
Yes, so our central executive body right now, we have 7 members, and we each field work our chapters, our central councils, and our sister organizations. So we work very closely with them throughout the year. We join their meetings, whether weekly, bi-weekly, and we are basically the liaisons with these chapters and central councils. So we're basically aware of everything that is happening with our chapters. We provide them with any tools that are needed. We're their first person they should go to if they have any questions. And in terms of the tools that we equip them with, is we just empower them to make sure that they have the experience and they gain more experience, and they make their ideas come to a reality, because the ideas should be coming from our members. Our membership helps us be the AYF. Without our members, we wouldn't be as successful or in the place we are today. So it's basically empowering our membership to really understand that they are the ones that have the power.
Now let's move to Armenia. We know that the Pan-Armenian Panagum will take place this summer in Armenia. Does the AYF have plans to participate in that?
Yes, the AYF Eastern Region is sending participants to the Pan-Armenian Panagum, and all of our participants that have registered are very excited to attend this summer.
As they should be. I attended in 1997 and 1999, and it was by far one of the best experiences of my life. So I'm excited for you all.
Thank you.
Do you have any programs outside of the U.S.? For example, I know you have the AYF internship program. What can you tell us about that and other programs in the homeland?
Yeah, so the AYF internship program is in Armenia every summer. It is 9 weeks long. It starts in June and it ends in August. We have interns that are placed in different working environments that have to do with what they are studying currently. They all live in one house together, and they essentially spend 9 weeks working, and on the weekends they have excursions all across Armenia. So as mentioned, the Central Internship Council does a great job with planning their whole summer, from their excursions to their placements to their house placements, their work placements, I meant, and also their house placements. So this program is possible because of the Central Internship Council, and in recent years, this program has become very popular and competitive in terms of applicants. So we're happy to see that this program has been growing.
Are there any areas where the AYF Eastern region collaborates with the Western region or even Canada? Are there any other regions that you coordinate with?
So we have every 2 years there's a tri-regional seminar. So we rotate who is hosting it across the 3 regions. So this past year, so in June of 2024, actually the Eastern region hosted the tri-regional seminar. And as mentioned, it's an educational weekend that helps our members come together, have discussions and different types of workshop, and really get us on the same page in terms of what we're working towards. And that is how we collaborate. We also collaborate. We have the option for other regions to attend our events. So we do sometimes see there are other regions that come to our events as well, which is great because it helps our membership see that there are AYFers all around the world, just like them.
Wonderful. What are the challenges that Armenian youth organizations in the diaspora face nowadays, and specifically the AYF and the Eastern region?
Yes, so I would say the biggest is assimilation, but with assimilation, there is a language barrier. So there are less Armenian speakers here in the Eastern region, but we do have, like I mentioned, the Central Language Council, and this year we are sponsoring our members to attend language classes. So it's something we definitely address and work towards. But as mentioned, I think the assimilation factor is the biggest that we're facing in the diaspora, and specifically the Eastern region. We have a lot of distractions here, a lot of programs our youth can be involved in to choose over our Armenian organizations. So I would say assimilation, and I would also say, though, that the AYF never fails to surprise me when every Memorial Day weekend we have over 400 AYFers choose to spend their long weekend at junior seminars. So I'm constantly reminded that the AYF stands strong in fighting assimilation.
How does the AYF carry out Haitad initiatives?
Yes, so we have local Haitad initiatives that we are promoting or encouraging across our chapters on a local level, whether it's Armenian genocide or Artsakh genocide commemoration. We do have some chapters that live in cities like DC and New York that have embassies or missions or are close to the UN, and they can execute or plan protests with a few days' notice, and depending on current events, and they can have protests. So I would say on a local level, that's how we work with Haitad, and then we obviously promote on a regional level our members to be attending ANCA programs, and we do sponsor our members to go to advocacy days and also other programs that the ANCA has to have them start thinking at a young age of how they can be involved with Armenian activism.
Speaking of ANC activities, we followed the recent protest the AYF in Washington held when Nikol Pashinyan was visiting the U.S. Capitol and holding meetings with hand-picked audience at the Armenian embassy. What was the message behind the protest, and what is your message to your peers today?
Yes, so our AYF members in the DC chapter, like you said, they went outside the embassy last week, and basically it was showing that we are in disagreement with the Prime Minister's disastrous policies of betraying the Armenians of Artsakh and our prisoners of war, and failing to ensure that our borders in Armenia are safe and secure, essentially leaving our nation exposed to external threats.
In this day and age, with the rapid growth of individual initiatives and groups that lack grassroots and ideological standards, how does the 92-year-old AYF continue its mission towards stopping assimilation and establishing a free, independent, and united Armenia?
Thank you, yes. So I think the AYF stands strong in our ideology. We really teach and educate our membership on what our ideology is, making sure that they're well informed ideologically with their Armenian identity, instilling a commitment to our Armenian activism. We remind them of our grassroots roots of our organization to make sure that they have long-term engagement with their Armenian communities and their lifelong active Armenian members. And as we spoke about a lot, our youth empowerment, that's the most important to make sure that we will have successful future generations of AYFers. So continuing to develop leaders, whether that's on a local or a regional level. And I would also say realizing or reminding our members that we are a global AYF community. We are in all parts of the world. We have each other and we're all working for the Armenian cause.
Any last words to the Hairenik media viewers?
Yes, it's to join the AYF, have your kids join the AYF, and make sure that they are shaping their Armenian identity with us.
Hairenik Media's special guest for tonight was the AYF-YOARF Eastern Region Central Executive Chairperson Isabel Hagobian, speaking about the programs and activities of the AYF. Thank you, Isabel, for such an informative and insightful interview. We are sure our viewers appreciated learning so much about the AYF. Thanks again, and good night. That's all for tonight's broadcast. Stay with us for more updates, and thank you for watching.